This is Algebra 1, Lesson 3.2 and 3.3. Your goal for this lesson is to be able to solve one-step inequalities, and then to be able to graph the solution on a number line. So we're going to start with addition and subtraction. So here we have our first inequality, x minus 7 is less than negative 5. This is exactly like solving an equation, except we have an inequality symbol. So to solve this, we're going to start with adding 7 to both sides. Our goal is to get x by itself on one side of the equation. So this inequality is x is less than 2. And then we're going to graph that inequality. So we're going to put 2 in the middle, 3 is 1 above, 1 is below. Since it's just less than, we have an open circle, and less than goes to the left. I'm going to skip the graphing of the inequalities for the duration of this lesson, but you will be expected to do those things. Alright, number 2, y plus 11 is greater than or equal to 3. So to get y by itself, we would subtract 11 from both sides. And we get y must be greater than or equal to negative 8. This next example, notice that the variable is on the right. We go through the same procedure. We're going to subtract the 7 from both sides because 7 is with the r. And we get negative 15. Since r is on the right, we are going to flip around the inequality, and we must flip the sign when we flip around the inequality. Go ahead and do number 4 on your own. Pause the video. Now that you've finished number 4, you should have added 4 to both sides, 14 to both sides. 14 is greater than t, and flipping the inequality around, t is less than 14. Alright, moving on to multiplication and division. When you multiply or divide by a negative number, you must flip the sign. Alright, number 5. To solve this inequality, we would divide by 8. And when we divide by a positive number, we do not flip the sign. Number 6, however, to solve for y, we would multiply by a negative 3. And since we multiplied by a negative, we must flip the sign. Go ahead and do number 7 and 8. Pause the video. Now that you have completed number 7, to solve this inequality, you would divide both sides by a negative 5. Since the 5 is negative, we must flip the sign. Number 8, to solve for h, we would multiply by a positive 5. And since 5 is positive, we do not flip the sign. However, h is on the wrong side, so we are going to flip the sign to turn the inequality around. Go ahead and do these on your own. Pause the video. Alright, you can check your answers. That's negative 10.5. You must flip the sign and then flip it around again to put the variable on the right side. And k is greater than 14. A couple of applications. The hard drive on your computer has a capacity of 120 gigabytes. You have used 85 gigabytes. You want to save some home videos to your hard drive. What are the possible sizes of the home video collection you can save? Well, first of all, we want to figure out how much we have left in our capacity. So if we start with 120 gigabytes and subtract off the 85 gigabytes that we've already used, we end up with 35 gigabytes left. But that solution is not just 35 gigabytes. The home videos that we could still use and save on our hard drive has to be less than or equal to 35 gigabytes. So the memory is less than or equal to 35. Second example, a family is taking a cross-country trip by car. They drive at an average speed of 55 miles per hour, and their goal is to travel at least 400 miles a day. How many hours per day do they need to drive? All right, well, we know that distance equals rate times time. And we also know that the maximum, their goal is to travel at least 400. So 400 is the minimum number of miles that they want to do a day. So the total number of hours that they should go for needs to be 55 miles per hour times the number of hours, and that needs to be greater than the 400. Now to solve that, we're going to divide both sides by 55, and the number of hours is equal to about 4.5 hours. All right, that concludes this lesson.